Welcome. My name is Carmilla. Today we're going to be exploring the SoloTtrpg journaling game, Midsummer Swarm by Tori B. Shall we begin? Introduction. It begins with a hum. Not a sound exactly, but a pressure, a slow vibration in the jawbone, in the thin cartilage of your ears. It comes from the old mulberry tree in your yard, a tree whose roots have been here far longer than the house, and far longer than you. First came the beetles, black and green, shining like drops of oil. Then the moths, pale and trembling against the trunk. The spiders wove their webs higher than your reach, their silk catching the light like frost. And now they're everywhere. A congregation of wings and carapaces and too many eyes all fixed upon you. They are not here to harm you. They have chosen you. And they are preparing for something that will arrive on Midsummer's Eve when the air is thick and the moon is fat and the hum will swell until it splits the night open. The neighbors call it an infestation. You know it's something else entirely. You have 14 days. Guard the tree, learn the signs, keep their trust. And when midsummer comes, be ready to stand with the swarm or be left to face the arrival alone. Now we'll be discussing gameplay. The goal of this game is to survive until midsummer and stand with the swarm. Keep trust, tree health, and yourself alive long enough to see what arrives. What you'll need to play is a standard deck of cards with the jokers removed, a d6, which is one 6-sided die, a journal or some other way so you can record your progress, tokens or counters to track trust, tree health, both of which start at 5, and the midsummer clock, which starts at 14 days. The game consists of 14 in-game days, counting down to Midsummer's Eve. Each day is broken into 3 segments: morning, daylight, and nightfall. In the morning, you'll draw a card from the deck. Each suit means something else. More on that later. During the daylight section of the game, you'll take an action. So after resolving the morning card, you'll choose from one of the following: to defend the tree, to gain trust, or to slow the midsummer clock. This is where the 1d6 die comes in. A 1 to 2 will be a fail. A 3 to 4 will be a partial success, so you don't gain anything positive, but you don't lose anything either. And a 5 to 6 will be a success, and that's what we're striving for, of course. And then, after the midsummer clock reaches 0, that's the end game. And we'll see the arrival for the in-game scenario. The final portion of the in-game day is nightfall, and this is where the journaling part of the game comes in. You're asked to write 2 to 3 sentences answering one of the following questions. What sound did the swarm make tonight? What shape appeared in the sigils today? What was left for you at the base of the tree? Or what did you dream of? Next, a brief overview of the cards. Hearts represent omens. The world speaks through the swarm, sometimes in kindness, sometimes in warning. The signs are never given plainly. A moth will land on your hand and tremble until you notice the pattern on its wings. Ants will rearrange their paths to encircle a shadow. The wind will shift just enough to carry the smell of honey or ash. The swarm does not speak in words. It speaks in spirals, in the shiver of 1,000 tiny feet over bark, in the silent collapse of a web at dawn. Some of these things mean protection, some mean danger, and some mean nothing at all until it's too late to tell the difference. Odd hearts are good, and you will earn +1 trust. Even or bad, and you will lose 1 trust. A few examples would be, for instance, the 4 of hearts, which would be bad. You wake to find the sigils rearranged into a shape you don't recognize and don't like. Moving on, the clubs. Clubs represent human threats. They see pests, they do not see the pattern. The neighbors peer through the blinds, the glint of glass catching the light, and you can almost hear the silent count of wings and legs. They come with brooms, with poison, with clipped voices full of certainty. They do not look closely enough to see the lattice of silk stretched between leaves, the precise symmetry of beetles along the bark, the slow, deliberate turn of every antenna toward the same point in the sky. To them, it is noise and clutter, an infestation to be scrubbed away. They cannot hear the hum beneath the hum. They do not know what is coming. Odd clubs are a small interference, -1 tree health. Even represent major attacks, -2 tree health. An example would be if you got the 7 of clubs, which would be a small interference. A man with a clipboard knocks on your door, warning that the city might get involved. Next, diamonds, which represent bug activity. The swarm moves with purpose, but not always in ways you understand. Some mornings their work is deliberate, almost architectural. Rings of soil built around the roots, webs drawn thick against the wind, resin sealing the wound in the bark as neatly as a stitch. Other mornings their movements are softer, stranger. Moths clinging to your sleeve, ants leaving bright beads on your porch, butterflies following you as if you were another blossom in the garden. You cannot always tell which is protection and which is affection. The language is older than people, older than trees, and perhaps those two things have never been separate. Every act, whether fortress or gift, feels like another step towards midsummer threshold, another heartbeat pulling this season forward. An example would be the 8, which would be loving. Butterflies shadow you from task to task, landing only when you pause to breathe. I missed this, but odd diamonds are defensive, so you will get +1 tree health. And even are loving, so you would get +1 trust. And last we have spades. The arrival draws near. The air thickens, the swarm knows. There is a heaviness to the heat now, as if the sky has dropped closer. The hum threads through it, low and unbroken, until it feels like your own pulse has been taken up into the sound. The insects move with uncanny unity, turning, pausing, vanishing into the shadows beneath the mulberry in ways that feel rehearsed. At night, you wake to find the branches trembling without wind, the leaves turned upward like hands waiting to be filled. You cannot name what is coming, but you feel it in your teeth, in the roots beneath your feet, in the way the swarm presses closer with each passing day. Spades, the arrival draws near. Always advance the midsummer clock by +1 extra day. A 10 would be a bird lands on the tree, only to drop dead seconds later. Now that we've gone over the basics of the game, I'd like to give you my thoughts on my gameplay session from last night and my overall thoughts on the game in general. I rolled back the Midsummer's clock from the intended 14 days to 7 days because I wanted a shorter session, and I don't think it affected gameplay at all. The game loop is easy. For the morning, you draw a card, get a prompt, resolve the action. The daylight section, you pick 1, 2, or 3 as an action to take. You roll your die and again resolve that. And then at nightfall, you have a couple questions that you can use if you are journaling to tie your whole day together. It's very easy. And I think this is a great game to play if you don't have a lot of time, if you don't want to invest a lot of brain power into maybe a little bit more complicated game or crunchy game. Obviously, if you enjoy writing, and you don't have to enjoy writing or even write to play something like this, in my opinion, you could use a voice memo, or you could, I really feel like you could just play it in your head, a theater of the mind, and that's how I play a lot of games, to be honest with you. Due to some of my chronic illnesses, sometimes I have problems with writing and typing because I have neuropathy in my hands, so that affects, it's a nerve issue, and it can be pretty painful. And I have fibromyalgia, so I get brain fog quite often. I have a short attention span. My mind wanders. I'm rambling right now. That's kind of how my brain works. So I do appreciate journaling games that do provide prompts with a little bit more direction, that aren't so open-ended. So I don't have to do quite as much thinking when I'm just trying to have a good time. Now, sometimes I like to do that. Sometimes I like to have a game that's more open-ended, that I have more freedom to control. I guess control might not be the right word, but create exactly what it is I want to do, which you can do with any game. I mean, obviously, as a solo player, you're picking what you can pick and choose what you want to do. It's not a big deal, but we don't always think that way, or at least I don't. And sometimes it's hard for me to break rules that are already in black and white. That's one reason why I like journaling games, because I feel like they're a little bit more flexible, I should say. But if you do like to write, if you do like journaling games, if you are somebody new to solo journaling solo gaming in general, a solo journaling game may be a good way to get to ease you into playing. Just pick something that interests you. I am not particularly creeped out by bugs. I kind of actually find them fascinating. So when I saw this on Itch, I was like, that looks interesting to me. If I recall, I think it was Pay What You Want. I could be wrong, but I will put the link down in the description below. And if you can, always send the creator, a couple bucks their way to say thank you. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I will give you a quick example, because this video is supposed to come in at about 15 minutes, but because I mentioned the 7 of clubs as an example earlier, I will do my day 5 for you, because I actually pulled the 7 of clubs. So in the AM, I pulled the 7 of clubs, which represents a human threat, which is a small threat, which was -1 tree health. And the prompt was, a man with a clipboard knocks on your door, warning that the city might get involved. And you may hear my husband, who just snuck in here in the background, trying to be quiet. So what I chose to do was, for my day action, was the first choice, which was defending the tree. And I threatened the guy back with my extensive knowledge of city ordinances and laws, and I slipped him the business card of my lawyer, who I have always in my cell phone on speed dial, in my favorites. Do we have speed dial anymore? I don't know. But anyway, he thought he was going to bully me, and he was incorrect. So he was sent packing, and he wasn't a very happy camper. And at nightfall, I chose to journal about the sound of the swarm, and they were absolutely contented and very happy with my performance that day. They were very, very, very grateful to me. So that's the example of a good day for me. Now, when your midsummer clock reaches 0, then something happens called the arrival. And I am going to read to you actually from the game itself, and that's what I did for the introduction and the card descriptions. Tori B is, I think, a very I looked at some of Tori's other games, and you can obviously tell that Tori does enjoy writing. And I think these are really good little write-ups. So, The Arrival. When the midsummer clock reaches 0, the hum swells until the air itself seems to buckle beneath its weight. The mulberry bends, every leaf trembling in some wind you cannot feel. From the woven shadows between its roots they come, not as a swarm, but as a singular thing, stitched from every wing, every leg, every black and burnished carapace you have tended. It is not a creature so much as a thought made flesh, wearing 1,000 tiny eyes. Its body ripples like the pages of a book in a storm, each movement whispering your name in a language older than the soil. You do not know if it has always been here, waiting, or if you have helped call it through from somewhere else entirely. Its shadow spills across you, warm and dry, a shed heighten. It smells like the first rain on stone. And when it lowers its head, if head is even the word, you understand why they chose you. Excuse me. So the ending journal prompts are different depending on what your stats end up being. If trust is 0, if tree health is 0, if trust and tree health are less than 6 but neither 0, if one stat is high but the other is low, or if trust and tree health are both +6. Now I had one stat that was high and the other was low. Let me get my notes. Yes, my trust was 6 and my health was 1. So the prompt for that is the swarm achieves their goal, but you are either excluded or used without consent. And double checking, yes, my trust was 6. So if trust is 6+, but health is less than 6, describe how they use you to finish their work and what is taken from you. And I'm not going to tell you, because I am going to do a blog post in the next week or two with my entire gameplay session. And when I do that and get that up on my blog, on my website, I will update the description box below and pin a comment so you can go and read it if that's something that interests you. Otherwise, I will leave a link in the description to this journaling game below so you can go and check it out. TrpG also has a lot of other games, and I believe I remember reading that they're a librarian, so you may find something else you like if insects don't interest you. I will also leave a link to Man Alone's channel. If you are interested in getting into solo play, or are interested in TTRPGs in general, or basically if you're interested in philosophy, he throws talk of tarot in there, any of that type of stuff, psychology, I highly recommend you go check him out. He is a unique, one-of-a-kind channel here on YouTube, and you're not going to find anything remotely close to him. I highly recommend him, and if you're interested in any of that, I say go check him out. So I really appreciate you sticking around if you made it to the end. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope to speak to you in the comments soon. Take care, be kind to yourself, and I will see you when I see you. Bye.